What other conditions or what other methods were being applied by the pastors?
The man of God asked the relatives to buy a thread, the one that is commonly used by these traditional hair pleaters,
the black one.
The black one. The relatives brought that thread, and whilst he used the blade to cut through that thread, use some concoctions that he says is anointing oil, because the anointing oil that I have seen is this one is a bit different. Yes, so he used the anointing oil, prayed, and also used the blade to cut through the thread. And he says he was disentangling the gentleman from those spiritual attacks. But it's interesting that after all this process, it took about almost 2-3 hours. We're still back to
the same state.
The same state.
Yeah. So should we be mindful of the methods that they apply? So somebody comes to you,
and the place too is, if you look at the conditions in that prayer camp, it's not something good to behold.
So you put the person in harm's way because the person is in chains, maybe tied to a tree or a gate or something. The person can injure himself or herself. And then the process of the method that Ohemi narrates that the supposed man of God is using, can we deduce from what they do and say this is not of God? Or once they claim that it's of God, we should just flow along?
I said earlier that the fruit always shows. Okay, we've had experiences like this where somebody is put in chain over a long period and they die. Okay, and sometimes there's a lot of a secrecy to some of these things. It's kept under the table, so we don't hear much about it. For a desperate family whose member is going through such an experience, if they take the person to a prayer camp, a place like that, in chains, under terrible, inhumane conditions, and the person end up dying, it's just a matter of carrying that person, go and bury the person quietly, and then it is done. But my challenge will be a pastor who claims that they have the spiritual power to heal such people and then subject them through so many things. And at the end of the day, nothing actually comes out of it. But then people will keep going, because in these days, people want solutions and answers. So basically, it's not too much about the quality of the place they are going to, how right it is. It's about finding solutions. And that's what drives a lot of people to such places. But let me say this also. Situations of this kind can be a little mild and can also be very intense. In the mild cases, I've seen people with this kind of condition healed. There was one student in Takrade that we dealt with. This guy had this kind of a problem. It started suddenly. It started suddenly, but...
Please go on.
Yeah, it started suddenly, but we were able, and at that time we were even students, and we were able to help the young man, and he got out of it. But there are some that are very severe. Okay, there are some that are completely out of place, and when they've been subjected to a lot of prayer over a period of time and nothing is happening, I believe strongly that such patients, if I can call them, should be handed over to the right authorities.
That is doctors,
yes,
medically,
yeah,
medically trained to
yes,
take care of these things.
Yes.